How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 53 of the Sports Desk. I am your host, Splash, and as always, we are joined with Jack. I got the direction right. Back on a winning streak.
The
How's it
streak was broken during the last stream, but we fixed it. It's a little hectic right now.
going? Zach did the intro. Go ahead.
You cut off for a moment, but you're good
Oh,
now.
yeah, I didn't do one last night on a great stream that I had with Zach. I didn't do it last night because he did the intro. So it was nice to have a 30-second breath for my vocal cords because I've been using them a lot the last few days. So how's it going, Jack?
Like I said, it was hectic. It was there. First of all, I got depressed on Sunday. I want to save that rage because I might join up for like a youth therapy episode, I think is what we're calling it.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to
your
save
team
it for
is in the
that.
playoffs. Your team is in the play. I'm going to have to record a solo youth therapy episode.
We have a Mickey Mouse NFC West title.
Yes.
But you
own 3/4 of the division.
We do. And
so
I'm wearing a Super Bowl shirt because even though it's one that we lost, I am wearing a Super Bowl
shirt.
But,
I don't know how I've felt about those because I know in 2018 when we won the division, I did get an AFC North champions hat, and I thought it was a big waste of money immediately after I bought it. Like it was like a heat of the moment thing, and it's just like, oh, okay, now I don't want to live anymore. It was like $30,
so we should just jump right into the big news.
We have breaking news, and we have a special guest to join us, and our special guest will announce the breaking news. Zach, you good to go, buddy?
Good to go. Oh, come on! All right. Breaking news, first reported by Josina Anderson of ESPN. Joe Judge has been fired from his position as head coach of the New York Football Giants. I'm happy. My dog, Bella, she is very happy.
Dog number 2.
Dog number 2. Seen both dogs. Now, what does this mean? The New York Giants. All right. I understand.
Your dog's pretty happy about it.
Yes, she is. Despite not making the decision on Black Monday, they did let Dave Gettleman, quote unquote, retire. They have joined the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings in teams that are going to be looking for the battery of head coach and general manager. John Mara is letting this new GM dictate the entirety of how this new coaching staff is going to turn out. The Giants' way, as John Mara has had it, might be done for good. Hopefully. But
hopefully
for Giants fans after the last couple weeks, and I'm going to go back through the thread that we tweeted out about 10, 15 minutes ago. The Giants were fully expected to bring Joe Judge back in December. They even told him and all his staff that they would be retained. Number 2, Judge was set to be involved in the GM search as Dave Gettleman was informed in November he was not coming back. 3, Judge's demeanor the last few weeks from a source in the building was quote-unquote cocky, and players noticed a change. Number 4, the Judge press conference after their 29-3 loss to the Chicago Bears, where he threw former head coach Pat Shurmur under the bus, really bothered John Mara and the Giants brass. They started calling around the league to hear opinions on the next step. 5, despite other outlets claiming he was safe, we, as in U Stadium, reported after Christmas, multiple people in the building did not want him back. That sentiment was shared by Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, who had said on Fox NFL Sunday before the 1 o'clock games that Joe Judge was about a 50-50, and after the 4 o'clock game, that he was at 25% to 75%. People in the building did not want him back, and the effortless final games of the season furthered the front office decision. They never told him, despite what some outlets had reported, that over the past 48 hours that Joe Judge was in fact returning in 2022, and thus the Giants will be joining the Bears, Dolphins, Broncos, Vikings, and possibly the Raiders, as well as the Jaguars in search for a new head coach.
That was a bombshell. Any other coaches that we're going to have to worry about being fired today, tomorrow?
I don't think so.
This is the last domino.
I think it's a little still too early to call. I think we're going to have to wait and see.
I mean, I think Bisaccia, that could be a potential thing. Jack, do we have a quad box?
I think we're gonna have a quad box in just a moment.
We
here.
might have a quad box. If Nick
Well,
flips
I had
his
said
camera
it
on,
with
I might add him
Bisaccia.
up.
I had said it on last night's stream with Bisaccia last night. I just said last night twice. I think Bisaccia should either be hired full-time by the Raiders, or if he is not, he should be immediately at the top of teams' lists elsewhere. Because what he has shown with the circumstances that organization has put him in to wind up in the playoffs, it shows just about every hallmark of a good coach you could possibly imagine.
Okay, who would be top on your priority list? Brian
As
Flores
a Giants fan,
or Bisaccia? Just in general, not as a Giants fan.
In general, I would have to say Flores because he has more experience. As a head coach, I really don't think he should have been fired by the Dolphins. I think Chris Greer is not a very good GM.
Mm-hmm.
I think they fired the wrong guy in Miami, and Stephen Ross we got to start questioning.
Oh, agree.
Like a boys club there. I can understand not going after Jim Harbaugh. I get it. You might not want to spend those resources if he's going to stay at Michigan. But to come out and say you don't want to be the guy that takes him away from Michigan, I just thought that regardless of Ross's connections to the University of Michigan, I just thought that was a disaster of a quote to have. Again, it's one thing like, okay, the Ravens aren't going to look at Nick Saban to be their next head coach. Okay, fine. Duh. You don't have to go say that. You don't have to say, oh, we're not going to be the ones to take him from Alabama. I thought the Dolphins royally screwed that up. And if I wasn't at an airport at 8 a.m. yesterday, I would have been on a live stream absolutely shredding the Dolphins because I thought that is a lol-cow move. That's the reason why your franchise hasn't won a playoff game in 20 years.
20 years.
Like, come on now. Your coach comes in 2019, expected to go 0-16. They go 5-11, have a massive, 5 wins, pretend that's 50 wins. They were not supposed to be jack squat. They end up winning 5 games. They go 5-4 in their last 9, I believe, to salvage that season. They ended the Patriots dynasty in a way because they knocked them out of the top 2 seeds.
For now.
Last year, for now. Last year, they overachieved. They go 10-6. They missed the playoffs on like a tiebreaker, or not even a tiebreaker. It was just a ridiculous year in the AFC that you had 7 teams win 11 games. And then this year, you start 1-7. You have quarterback injuries, so you can kind of excuse some of the losses. Like Tua didn't play in the Vegas game. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Raiders with Tua. Jacoby Brissett is not where it's at. That one game would have been the difference there. And then they go 8-1 to end the season. They sweep the Patriots. They beat the Ravens, who have been the bugaboo in the last few years. They beat the Saints in a Monday night game in New Orleans. And sure, they didn't end up making the playoffs. They ran into a Titans team that had their number, but I cannot believe they fired.
It's so impressive.
Everybody's number. What are we surprised the Titans had their number? It was just
good point. They don't have the Steelers number for some reason.
They don't.
The Steelers. The funniest part of the week was the Colts collapsing. So the Steelers and Big Ben get one more victory over the Colts because I swear it didn't matter. Freaking Peyton, Locke, Johnny Unitas could have walked out on the field, and the Steelers were never going to lose to the Colts. It doesn't matter. Big Ben turned into prime Big Ben last year.
And I went on about this last night. Is that yesterday for the Colts one of the most embarrassing losses in NFL history, where you show up, you have to win and you're in, against a 2-14 team. Their fans are so pissed off they're wearing clown costumes to protest against the organization. And you don't just lose, you get slaughtered.
Yeah, they were down 26-3 at one point, and it was so bad that it's not even a decision in my head to say the Colts had the worst collapse in the AFC. And the Ravens lost 6 in a row to end the season. The Ravens had an all-time horrendous collapse. Explanation, yes, I get it. But the Colts somehow took 2 games and won up the whole thing. They should have beaten Vegas. They were heavy favorites in that game at home. Wentz blows it. Wentz didn't play well. And then he had a QBR of 4.4. That is really bad. You have to actively try to be that.
He was
catastrophic.
Horrendous against Jacksonville. I'm not going to mince words. He was horrendous. Yeah. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen.
And big shout out to Damian Wilson.
And I watched Jared Goff
force fumble
for 5 years.
Did you see after the game, you know that meme of Wolverine looking at the photo frame?
Yes.
T.Y. Hilton liked a picture of Wolverine looking at a picture of Andrew Luck.
Yes, he did. And I think the Was it the Steelers had the great meme with the is it from one of the Thor movies that he can't destroy me, but
he
he can. Yeah. Oh my. Great work, Steelers. Your organization. I don't like your organization, but that was funny. That was.
I mean, Mike Tomlin was asleep during overtime of
Raiders Chargers.
Has this been the best, like, Sunday night into last night? Has this been like the best 24 hours of football in recent memory?
It's ridiculous.
I for one am not pleased about the results, but I think you had, again, 3 games on Sunday, went into overtime, 3 teams clinched the playoffs, Steelers, Raiders, and 49ers, overtime wins, they clinched the playoffs, and then you have a college football championship that was a 1-score game the entire way until the last second pick 6. What a 48 hours of football for everyone besides me.
I had an emotional roller coaster.
My emotional roller coaster began and ended with me betting on a Georgia defensive score for the first touchdown of the game, and then having one scored and then wiped off on air.
Yep. Hey, look, I got my heart broken on air 2 days in a row, so it happens. And Nick, we are ready to fire you up, get some Joe Judge rumors up in here.
What's up, boys? You hear me?
Yeah, we
can hear you.
Cool.
We can
What's
hear you.
going on?
We're vibing. You know, we're just doing the whole routine, and we have breaking news 20 minutes before we go live, so we can say, "Hey, Frankie, we're doing a synchronous show."
Yeah, that's always good. I mean, it always drives the show. You know, drives some content, some breaking news, and some and maybe a new group of fans to listen to. So just plugged it for a lot of the Giant fans who've been following our reports on Judge for the past few weeks, and
I appreciate it.
Of course. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can tell, Zach. It was a crazy situation. It was, I don't know if you guys are Seinfeld fans, or Zach, you are, but it was very similar to the George Costanza trying to get fired.
We actually had Seinfeld on the thumbnail.
And then Zach's
I
like, "Hey,
gotta check it out."
Yeah, you're more important than Seinfeld
guy.
Yes, you are.
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, it was just a very strange situation, one that I haven't seen in a while. By all accounts, and I posted up a thread really of the information I've had the past few weeks and how we got to this point of how Judge was, essentially let go today. Dating back to mid-December when Giants brass essentially told Joe Judge and his staff that they were all coming back. And from then on, it was just kind of event after event that made the Giants change their mind less than a month later on probably one of the biggest decisions that they've made in I know they've been kind of cycling head coaches in the past few years, but this now, last time they brought in the GM and Gettleman, they had an idea he was going to be the guy, and he chose the head coach. Now it's everybody's on the same timeline, on the same page, which is great, and they're going to do a thorough interview process for a GM, and they're going to kind of have their head coach candidates lined up, and probably starting Thursday, I believe, or Wednesday. What's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday.
I think Wednesday would be the first interview with Joe Schoen from the Bills, who I would say is probably the front runner for the job. If all goes well, I know the Giants have liked him for quite a while. He's the kind of belle of the ball throughout the league. And the Giant job is it's an intriguing, a historic franchise. With all that
draft capital?
I'm sorry?
With all that draft capital too?
Yeah, I know. So, the one thing is these, fat veteran contracts that they really don't have much wiggle room to get out of this year. The process is going to be one where the GM is most likely going to get a 6-year deal, similar to what the Jets did, similar to a lot of other teams where they say, hey, you're going to get this 3-year window, no pressure on you. We're not going into next season expecting to compete for the playoffs or to win. Let's bring in through the draft. Let's develop some young players. Let's kind of trim the fat where we can with some of these salary some of the cap guys that they have there. Get rid of some of these overpaid veterans. try to reset. And in 2-3 years, we expect this team to be ready to compete. So it's going to be a true rebuild for the Giants, whereas Gettleman tried to put a Band-Aid on the bullet hole with the entire tenure starting from the selection of Saquon Barkley back in 2018 and every move he's kind of made since outside of the Daniel Jones draft pick. So it's going to be a true rebuild where the Giants are going to have the GM and head coach on the same page, probably same length of contract. And it's going to be, a guy who, the requests they put in now have been impressive. I mean, that was kind of the telltale when you started seeing these names coming in on these requests, the Schoen, the Cowden, the Poles, the Peters, you started thinking to yourself, well, these guys are well thought of throughout the league. They're not going to come in here and even take this interview if they're being told Joe Judge is the guy. You have to keep Joe Judge. You have to keep Daniel Jones. So when you saw that, that kind of led me to believe, well, all right, let me check back in what's going on, because you saw the Josina report yesterday. And, when I saw that, I texted a Giant source that I have, and he said no decision's been made. I don't know why that's being put out there. I guess maybe Josina kind of inferred, or maybe a source that she had was one of the players basically just saying, we'll put in 2 and 2 together while Judge is still here. He's conducting these exit interviews. He's got to be coming back. But when I texted yesterday and I tweeted it out, I don't think this Judge thing is over yet, and lo and behold, they finally went through their final meetings today, where they met yesterday. They met this late afternoon and finally moved on from him today after, I guess, probably hearing from other GM candidates saying that they wouldn't take the job was probably the last straw for, Mara, Tisch, and co. So, credit to them, because, Giant fans, us on social, everybody social media, we're just piling on the Giants for really having no backbone to ultimately make that decision. Even though over the past few weeks, the Giants knew what the move was, and they spoke to a lot of people throughout the league and what they would have done with this Judge situation and how he handled himself kind of very weirdly over the past few weeks. He almost felt probably empowered, when he was told that he would have a say in the GM search, knowing Gettleman was being let go or retiring, and also being told he would be brought back. I'm sure he felt a sense of maybe a little bit too much security, because the last month for the Giants has been very odd inside and out of the building. So Judge, and you can check out the thread on the Twitter, broke down really kind of step by step what has happened kind of over the past month since Judge was told. I know there was a SNY report by Raf Falciano who said that his job and Daniel Jones's job were safe. And, when I reached out to somebody with the Giants, they said, I wouldn't go that far. The Maras are not happy. The Tisches are not happy with what's going on. I wouldn't say he's back. So this was about probably a few days after Christmas, or, give or take a few days before or after. So,
was it before or after the Bears game?
It was before. So it was the Bears game was the second to last game of the year, right? So it was
Yes.
Bears and Washington. Sorry,
That's a fine.
It's not going to stop until the second when they get a real name. So yeah, it was prior to that, and these last 2 games, Judge just kind of, you could almost just tell there was nothing to them. There was no real game plan. It was almost like he didn't try. I guess he thought that, hey, I'm back regardless of what goes on. We could lose these last 2 games. I don't care. I don't have a quarterback. I'm playing, Jake Fromm. They're not judging me based on results at this point. Let me just get to the offseason. So I think he just had too much of a sense of, comfort, or the thought that, security. Hey, they told me he's coming back. Yeah, the false security. Hey, they told me he's coming back. I can kind of, just breeze my way through the rest of the year. And I don't think that if they would have lost these games and they weren't very competitive and Judge wasn't so like maniacal and egotistical, I think he would have kept his job. But they were just so bothered by his press conferences, his tone throughout the building the past few weeks, and just, the quote saying, oh, Mara thinks he has his Belichick. that probably came from the judge camp. That was probably leaked by his agent or Judge or someone close to Judge, because from then on, like, it snowballed for him, and it was just like one incident after the other. So he really has no one to blame but himself, because about a month or so ago he was coming back. This wasn't gonna what you heard was probably what was going to happen, right? Abrams was going to get promoted, or somebody inside the building, or somebody that Judge kind of, whether it was maybe Ziegler from the Pats, somebody who Judge had a working relationship with, was going to come in, and they were going to keep Judge, probably keep Jones, and build the team that way. But I think Mara got some outside advice and listened to, maybe he listened to the fans too. I mean, the fans weren't wrong in this case. He deserved to lose his job after what went down over the past few weeks.
Absolutely. And I think you can kind of excuse some of the poor play, because Mike Glennon was atrocious. He was the lowest graded quarterback by PFF, 30.0. And Jake Fromm was even worse. He had a 29 passing grade yesterday. But with this new landscape, Mr. Ganesh here has a question. I was going to echo the same sentiment. First, I would imagine you hire your GM before your head coach. You want the the carton before the horse, if you will, here. So how do you see this timeline going of acquire a GM, then acquire a head coach? Are the Giants at a disadvantage? Will teams, or if you're a head coaching candidate, say Eric Bieniemy, for example, I'm not saying he's going to the Giants, just using him as an example.
Sure.
If he's on the market, does he delay his process to see if the Giants have an opening for him? Or do you think he's going to go Dolphins immediately, right? Or an open job and early bird gets the worm here, or are the Giants going to be at a disadvantage?
Yeah, it's a good question to start. I guess it's a two-part. One, they're going to and have technically started the GM interview process. I think the first interview will take part tomorrow or Thursday, and they'll probably start banging out 2 a day, to get through them. You have the Zoom capability now with the COVID thing, so you can, do multiple Zooms a day. So the GMs, you can, it's different from the coaches that are going to be coaching a playoff team. You can interview these guys. So they're going to go through a real GM process. So that will be first on the docket. And what will happen in these meetings is they'll tell them, what they think of the current, landscape of the Giants. What's their process for fixing it? What are some of the coaches they have in mind, who they would want to interview? So they'll create that interview request list pretty quickly, throughout these, if the show and interview goes really well and they're like, well, this guy's going to be tough to beat, let me get a head start. They'll contact the agents for some of these head coaches and saying, hey, we're going to want to, if it is a Bieniemy, if it's a Flores, if it's a Brian Daboll, they'll contact those guys already before they even wrap it up, just because they know, hey, these guys are well thought of around the league. We're going to want to speak to them anyway. So they'll probably bang it out. Maybe they'll hire a GM like this time next week, maybe later next week, and then a coach, a week after that. So that's usually the timeline of these things. The GM ones tend to happen a lot quicker than the head coaching ones, because usually they'll do like second interviews. And but now in this landscape of basically everything virtual, I'm sure it'll move a lot quicker. Like they can do 2-3 in a day, and just kind of get through that list of 6-7 guys in 2 to 3 days. So by the weekend, I'm sure they'll probably wrap up the first round of GM interviews, and then early next week they'll maybe do like kind of a second return and then make the decision by like Wednesday of next week. And then, right there after the head coaches will start, doing the same thing. So, and the second part of that question is kind of from the head coaching candidate side is, well, will they wait for the job? I think everybody's different, right? I think a guy like Brian Flores can wait, because I think he's going to be in high, he's in high regard from a lot of teams. And, if let's say the Bears move in and they're like, well, we want an answer now, it's going to depend on what Flores wants to do and where he wants to be.
For sure.
Same thing, a guy like Harbaugh is different. He's going to want to know, he probably knows already. You know what I mean? Like if the Raiders, I'm simply just kind of putting this out there, not saying this is what's going to happen. If they lose on, when do they play, Saturday or Sunday?
They play Saturday.
So if they lose Saturday and they tell Bisaccia, hey, thanks, you did awesome, But hey, we have Jim Harbaugh. He's coming. He's got his staff picked out already. That could happen, Sunday morning. We could hear about Harbaugh's hired by the Raiders. So I think it's a different, it depends on the candidate, right? So if it's a first-time new coordinator who's got maybe 2 or 3 lined up, he might wait to pick the spot he wants to go to. But if it's somebody who's, in high demand, it's totally dependent upon maybe the Jaguars job, let's say. I mean, I know they have Lawrence, but it's really not
We lost you.
You good? Okay. Well, Nick, you can interject if your connection gets better. But as a little bit of a transition.
This is the first time in 43 years the Giants have gone outside the organization for a GM. 43 years.
That is surprising. That has to be like the longest streak.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be the longest streak. And I mean, so many people have been calling for so long that they have to get rid of the Giants way, get rid of the whole within the organization thing. And I think more or less from a fan perspective, the resounding opinion is it's about damn time. Because there was a lot of fear, and I think a lot of folks in the football community probably agreed with this, that if the Giants did not get this offseason right, that could set the organization back how many more years?
Yeah, this is a huge offseason. You have 2 first-round picks. You have a quarterback. You have an entity at quarterback that you just don't know. He's entering his 4th year. You choose to extend him to that 5th year this offseason.
Then you also have one of the biggest stars in the league with Saquon. You don't want to waste that.
And you have pieces on defense. Like, this was a good defense just 2 years ago. Patrick Graham did a wonderful job. You have, solid
Does he
pieces.
get considered for head coach?
Could that be an internal hire, or do you think he would go elsewhere?
I think, that's considered an internal hire, but at the same time, I mean, the players have been known to like him. There are definitely teams that are interested in hiring him. I think absolutely there's a scenario where you hire Patrick Graham as head coach, and I don't think many people would be that upset with it.
Yeah, I think he's done a lot with almost like nothing, really shambles with the Giants, that he formed the 2020 defense into a valiant unit. He turned James Bradbury.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Who was Brian Flores working on? Excuse me. I just completely blew the whole question. Who was Patrick Graham working for before Joe Judge? Brian Flores. If you hire Brian Flores, maybe you keep Patrick Graham. I don't know.
That works too. And then you have the connection there, and Graham might say, hey, I'm down to be the second in command behind Flores. You know what Flores can do, and you have a working relationship there, so you get bonds in other places. And this one I think would work, as opposed to having Joe Judge pick his GM be like a Nick Caserio type and just like have a boys club there. Now you're having productive advancements here, and you are able to translate the Xavier McKinney, a steal of a 2nd-round pick, Azeez Ojulari, a steal of a 2nd-round pick, and you get to develop those guys, an influx of talent with the, I believe, 5th and 7th picks in this draft. Those are franchise-altering picks if they hit on both of them. That is just scary. Huge. Like, I was doing a mock draft today. Imagine you get, Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. Just throw that out there. You get a free safety, blue chip safety guy, blue chip center guy. You're set for 10 years at, granted, 2 less important positions, but you have 2 superstars, and you throw that in with all the weapons they've thrown at the wide receiver position with Tony and Galladay and Shepard and Ingram and whatever you get out of Saquon Barkley as a receiver. I think there's a lot of things going right for the Giants if they hit on these picks and if they hit on head coach GM. Nick, are you back?
I think so. Can you guys hear me all right?
We hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I think my AirPods died.
It happens.
Worst batteries of all time. Yeah, I think, and Splash, I agree with some of what you're saying with the roster. I know there's some guys that they could look into moving on from, like Shepard, and Ingram is probably not coming back. But
I guess I can recap and kind of let you guys go on with the show with some potential names. I think, if it is a showing from Buffalo, Brian Daboll would make a ton of sense to come along here with those two having a relationship from Buffalo. Don't discount Flores. He's got a lot of connections. He knows the Mara family, so I'm sure he'll get an interview here too as well. He's from he's from Brooklyn. Or the Bronx, I'm not sure. One of these boroughs out here. So he's got the connection to the New York area. And I don't know if and I don't want to set Giant fans off. And I don't know if it's feasible. We all know how the cap is easily manipulated. But the Brian Flores, Deshaun Watson relationship is real. Like, don't discredit that. Don't discount that. The Giants will definitely be in the market for a quarterback. They have the ammo. They have the relationship with Caserio, the Giants and Caserio, even though he's a Patriot. There is a good relationship there. Don't discount it. I don't want to get people all worked up with Watson, but I would not count that out as well.
That would be a pretty scary sight in New York if they got.
No, that's a seismic shift in the NFL.
Yeah,
landscape.
I would watch where Flores lands, and I would watch if there are any. Even a spot like Carolina, I wouldn't say Matt Rule is completely safe. If for whatever reason they back channel David Tepper with Flores and he says he would take that job, Tepper would let Rule go in a second. That's how badly he wants Watson. And the same thing in Denver. If Flores ends up in Denver, I would watch wherever Flores goes, I would watch Watson.
Hey guys, I got a dip, but if you're a Giants fan and you're hearing that, I know Nick said don't get riled up just yet, but it's pretty tough to not get.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
Brian Flores, Deshaun Watson, possibly going to New York. I'm going to be shifting from college football more towards NFL ahead of the Senior Bowl, which I'm going to be at. Obviously, this gets a little bit more interesting now with the coaches going down there that we know of, that being the Jets and Lions coaching staffs. Man, I'm going to have to run away from Dan Campbell before he tries to bite my kneecaps off. But until then, I will see y'all soon.
All right. Thanks for hopping on, Zach. And I got one more question for you, Nick, before you dip.
Of course.
So, U Stadium has rolled out a new feature the last couple months called Takes.
Yes.
You're aware because, hey, you're a co-creator of the app. So, if you had to make a take today, let's say you put 500 points on it, who is your GM head coach pair in the New York Giants?
Oh, that is good, dude. You're good at this. I'm going to say Joe Show and Brian Daboll.
All right. Do you want to put it on the Takes app?
You want to
go
for it?
I'll do it.
All right.
You want me to make it, or you want
Yeah, go ahead. You make it, and
go for it.
I will probably disagree with you because that's sort of like a parlay thing, and I like my odds. But absolutely, fired up, and we in our hot take segment we will get to it, and we will probably disagree with it. But hey, that's one thing you can do on U Stadium.
Live.
Yeah, we will vote
I'm going to
live.
do it now. I'll throw it up there once I hang up.
We'll do it live. Yeah, exactly. So we'll fire that up. And if you're watching, make sure you download the U Stadium app and you can join as well. You think, of course, Daboll and Schoen, yes?
Yeah, I think so. I could be botching it, but I think that's how
Daboll and Schoen, you think that's a slam dunk hire? Throw 500 points, agree with Nick. But if you think, it's going to be Flores and a crony, right? Some random dude. Okay, disagree. Throw 500 points on it. And when they get hired, when that head coach GM pair gets announced, I will be the first to tell you, and I will get you a nice notification that either you win or you lose. You win some points, and eventually, very soon, actually, we're going to
watch Patrick Graham's name coming up too in a lot of interviews now, especially since most likely the entire staff will be, able to seek different opportunities now. He's a guy that a lot of people like around the league, and if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he'll 100% be a D coordinator somewhere.
Absolutely. So thank you for hopping on, and I am looking forward
up the great work,
to
guys. I'll talk to you.
My free points. Appreciate it.
See you, boys.
Appreciate it.
Later.
All right. Speaking of takes, we have quite the segue into some takes. Hopefully, Nick can fire up his take, and I'm gonna load up the old hot take-o-meter real quick if I can. My laptop will load. So thank you, Jack. Thank you, Zach, for hopping on with his Giants fan perspective. Thank you to Nick hopping on as sort of a an all-encompassing spectrum there. He is a Jets fan, but he's well connected within the league. Appreciate you two jumping on. If you're here from the Twitter push we just did, that Nick just did, appreciate it. Stay tuned. We have some banger content coming up. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ring a ding ding, that Le'Veon Bell, that notification bell. Shout out to Le'Veon
Tampa Bay
Bell's-
Buccaneer, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Buccaneers legend, Ravens legend, Chiefs legend, Jets legend, Le'Veon Bell, not a Steelers legend, of course. But let's throw up the hot take-o-meter right there. Boom. All right. We are going to fire up some
This
banger
first
takes.
take is from somebody who. Oh, we got a lot of.
We have a lot of
splash
takes
here.
today. We have a lot of takes today. You want to read this first one?
The MVP. This is the right one, right?
Yes.
The MVP of Super Bowl 56 will be a repeat of a previous MVP, Super Bowl MVP, such as Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Von Miller.
And you get to live react to this, yes?
I do have to live react to this. I think it largely depends on who makes it. But jeez, this is tough to think about. I don't see Tampa Bay making the Super Bowl this year.
Interesting.
I'd like the Rams to make it, but there's a scenario where we might have to go past the 49ers again, which I'm not looking forward to. More on that another time, like I said.
Yeah. We'll do playoff previews at another day. This is not the playoff preview show.
No. Although I did have it in the title, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So for me, this one's about the odds. So if you asked, like Vegas, if you asked someone who are the three favorites to win the Super Bowl, your answer is probably some group of Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Kansas City. Well, guess what? All three of those quarterbacks that lead those teams have won a Super Bowl MVP before. Brady, of course, has 5 of them, including one last season. So I'm playing the odds there. I threw Vaughn in because I just remembered Vaughn was Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 50, one of the best defensive performances ever. Vaughn's probably not going to be the reason why this one hits. It would be a Brady, Mahomes, or Rodgers. But at a certain point,
if it's a Rams player, it's Cup. I'll say that now. That's probably going to be Cup.
Donald, Ramsey, Stafford.
Maybe Donald.
I think Stafford probably would be the favorite there because it is a quarterback award.
This is true.
Yeah, so that's the reason. You get 3 out of the 14 playoff teams. You get their quarterbacks, and you have 3 of the 4 favorites. All of these teams are starting at home in the playoffs. Chiefs and Bucks are 2 seeds, and the Rodgers and the Packers are the 1 seed. So
I'll jump in on that one. I'll agree.
All right. Take numero dos from Splash. I wonder who that is. The Chiefs will not have the largest margin of victory in the wild card round. So I'm expecting them to beat the Steelers, but I'm expecting them to beat the Steelers by a smaller margin than another game. Let's say the Rams just whack the Cardinals or the Bengals whack the Raiders, something like that. I don't think the largest spread is going to be Pittsburgh, Kansas City. They played 2 weeks ago. They played in week 16. My apologies. And the Chiefs blew the doors off of them. I think it's going to be closer, but I think there's going to be it could get ugly, but I think there's going to be one other game that stands out above the rest as a really bad game.
Here's what I'm going to say. I think this is an unlikely scenario. I'm going to disagree with this take. I think it happens, but only because the only other scenario I see in my head right now, the only other team I see blowing another team out of the water completely is Dallas. Dallas had 2 50 burgers in 3 weeks, but they were against divisional opponents. The 49ers are much better than Washington, much better than Philadelphia, and I don't even think starters played that whole game either because both of those teams had already clinched by then.
Yeah.
So that's the only team I really see that has the capable to blow the doors off of another team is Dallas right now. I don't think they're going to do that against San Francisco. I think this might be as big of a blowout, but I still think the Chiefs are going to just run away with this one. So
yeah, I think that's fair. And you also have, I guess, the outside opportunity that the Steelers do win the game, and then this take hits regardless because the Chiefs would be losing. But I think a sneaky blowout candidate is Cincinnati. Joe Burrow was my team of the week quarterback, week 16 and week 17, rest week and week 18. The Raiders do have a little bit of a porous secondary. You can move the ball on the Raiders. And the Bengals have 3 wide receiver 1 guys, and they have a good tight end, CJ Uzoma. So there could be and a great running back in Joe Mixon. You could have blowout potential there that the Bengals run it up a little bit, score 45 points. I could see it.
There's probably also some blow up potential with Tampa Bay against Philadelphia, but I think
True.
it might get taken away a little bit because Brady's losing a couple of his wide receivers for that one. So
For sure. For
we'll
sure.
see.
So moving into a baseball take from one of our coworkers, Chandler. Chan the man says the MLB lockout will be over by January 28th. I have yet to join this take.
We're gonna put
300
this one on the
points.
hot take meter, by the way. We haven't been using that. So
Oh, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen any momentum one way or the other. I think a lot of the momentum is like at a stagnant. Like I don't think there's been much.
MLB related anything I did was play MLB The Show. So it's kind of hard to agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is one of. I'm gonna wait and see. This doesn't expire until the 27th. So at that point, I'll get a better understanding because I'm not sure how quickly this is gonna move.
So I guess we put it at Cayenne then. On the hot take
I'm gonna say Cayenne. Just stick with it. Stick with it. Yeah, stick with it.
See what happens.
All right, this is from you, Jack, and this game is about to not a kickoff, face off very soon. Vancouver Canucks, Florida Panthers. You have the Canucks knocking off the Panthers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I actually don't know where Florida plays right now. Let me take a look at the standings. Kings are in a playoff spot, by the way, which I'm hyped about. An actual playoff spot, too, not just a wild card. So let me pull up the standings. I know Florida is having a fantastic season going right now. Yeah, they're first in the Atlantic over Tampa Bay. That's pretty impressive. I just think the Canucks have kind of been on a bit of a roll as of late. They've won... What's their streak right now? Well, they're back on the winning streak. They won their first 7 straight games under their new head coach, Bruce Boudreau. And that was a game-changing move because before that, they were pretty much dead last. Like Seattle, I think, was the only team worse than the Canucks at that point. And they've just been... Bruce Boudreau has changed everything there because they're starting to play like a completely different team, a stronger team somewhat. They're not last in the wild card anymore. They're up to 7th right now. It's just going to be tough to knock off Florida, but I kind of feel like they can do it because I don't know. It was a tough. It just might be closer than I think some people say, just looking on the outside.
Absolutely. So before we transition to the next take, I have a bit of a geography question for you. Does Vancouver count as a Pacific Northwest?
I say it does, even though it's in Canada. I think
because I think like geographically it's similar to Seattle, right? And of course Seattle's in the Pacific Northwest.
It's north of Seattle.
Well, yes, but I would like I don't think I've ever heard Vancouver lumped into those, but I don't know if that's just because I don't talk about Vancouver often, or if that's if that's just a thing that it's Pacific Northwest in the United States, but Vancouver is technically in the southwest portion of Canada.
Yeah, I guess you just have to call it North America. They're Pacific Northwest in the terms of North America, and then you can kind of, I guess you can lump them in terms of that sense. But if you're just looking at Canada alone, they'd be Southwest. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next take. This is from Fella. He says the Bulls, Warriors, and Suns win tonight. 3,000 points on it. I am one of the 5 people to disagree. There are 10 people that agree. So hop on 200 points, 200 point buy-in. So I always disagree with these multi-leg things because all it takes is one for me to be right. And you have to, if you agree with it, you have to be right 3 straight times. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Disagreeing there. What are we gonna put this on? I might put it on the. I'm
gonna go habanero.
Habanero, yeah, that's what
I think. Even if you pick 3 favorites, it's like if you chose, I don't know, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, and Buffalo last week. 3 huge favorites. Okay, what are the odds one of them screws up? There's actually a decent odd. Even if you say every team has a 90% chance of winning, then guess what? You have about a 72% chance for all 3 of them to win. So I'm just saying we have a head coach hot take from friend of the show, the Bears. He says Brian Flores will become the next Bears head coach.
It's after hearing everything earlier, it's kind of hard to rule anything out right now. Jeez, I don't know. I think Dayball was a name that got brought up a lot.
Yes, Dayball. I think they're interested in Doug Peterson. I know he had an ugly exit with Philly, but he is a Super Bowl winning coach. He did turn the Eagles around. So could be an
I think it
exciting
depends
time.
on the GM.
Of course. Well, yeah, they are one of the teams. Zach mentioned Minnesota, the Giants, and Chicago have to fill both roles, and that's going to dictate. You have to have the cart before the horse, because you need to know, okay, can the horse pull this cart, right? If the horse can't pull the cart, then you're not going to get that horse. I actually might be butchering the thing, but
You have to get the horse before the cart.
Oh, really?
I think it is.
Okay.
If the horse can't pull the cart, then don't get the horse.
Okay. All right. Then don't get the cart. Okay. Fair point. And we'll wrap it up with one more in the same vein of what we're talking about. Zach actually made a take. He says Joe Schoen will be the next Giants GM. 500 big ones on it. What are we thinking?
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Points.
Although, granted, I have the most points on the app with me.
Yeah, you're probably giving them to yourself, I think.
No. Well, technically I do, because I'm the one that distributes points, but I'm not under the table giving myself.
Yeah. Of course you're not.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
If anything, Frankie owes me points, actually.
It's true. I don't know. It's really wait and see on the whole Giants situation. You kind of, because this firing just happened about an hour ago now. I think you have to wait and see what you have to give them time to kind of cast their net, see what all their options are. So
for sure,
can't really say yes or no to it yet.
Yeah, it's a wait and see. It's one of those ones that one thing with takes is that you can kind of, I don't want to say game the system, but you can be patient with some of these. Some of these you have to get on right away. Like if the Bulls, Warriors, Suns, you got to get on that in the next 15 minutes or so. The Canucks one, you got to get on very soon. And I'm about to push it as soon as I figure out. Yeah, because that starts in 13 minutes. I don't want to push that out to everyone on the app because not everyone's hockey fans, but I will see what I can do there. But yeah, with that said, hot takes. Peace out. And we are rocking and rolling. Got the 2-person view. Jack, hit us with the next topic.
We are just looking at everything that happened on Monday. So we got the obvious. I think we kind of touched on Brian Flores a little bit. I cannot begin to talk about how terrible that was. I mean,
I was about to go live from the airport.
Yeah, I woke up to that and I was like, am I seriously reading this right? They actually fired, but they chose to keep their GM. They chose to keep Greer over Flores, and it's like that's just such a wrong move.
Yeah,
when you look at where Miami has been over these last several years, especially recently.
An 0-16 potential team entering 2019. Like I mentioned earlier, they overachieved in 19, they overachieved in 20, and the only reason they didn't overachieve in 21 was they had a quarterback injury. They still met expectations. A lot of people said 9 or 10 wins, right? 9, 10, 11 wins. They win 9 games, and they miss their quarterback for a quarter of the season. That's fair. If you told a Ravens fan that we were going to go 8-9, but Lamar Jackson was going to miss a quarter of the season, okay. I can understand that, winning record with Lamar and then go 0-3 with or 1-3 with Huntley. Okay, I can and 0-1 with Josh Johnson. I can see that, and you have that conversation with Tua that it's really not Flores' fault that the Dolphins didn't make the playoffs this year. It's not really anyone's fault other than injuries with Tua specifically. Because you
have the Tua injuries, and you have just this crazy tight AFC West or just AFC playoff.
Yeah,
race.
Exactly.
So
the Dolphins won 8 games in a row, or 7
after
games
losing
in a row.
7.
Yeah,
they won 7. They lost 7 straight. They won 7 straight.
Yeah, only team in NFL history to do that, and they bookended their season with wins over the Patriots. If you're if that's a W in the column for Brian Flores, that's a W in the column for Tua Tagovailoa. And it's just goofy that they
cost New England the division title too at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's just strange that they would make this decision. And if it's a power struggle thing, okay, that's a little bit different. But it can be for performance reasons. Brian Flores was supposed to win 7 games in 3 years. They won 24.
Here's a number.
I think 24 and 25.
I don't know the exact number. I don't know the exact number, but here's So between 2009 and 2018, guess how many winning seasons Miami had? One.
They had a
Between-
goofy playoff run in 2016.
Yes. And then in 2019, when he was hired, you said 5-11. So
Yep.
that's two, and then they had 2 winning seasons in a row. They haven't done that since that time period that I mentioned, 2009 to
Oh my
2018.
goodness.
I mean,
That's just an
you just look at the
absolute disaster.
Dolphins. You don't have to look too deep into that to realize
No.
how much of a disaster this firing is. And he's just let me say this too. He has given me rage because he was a defensive coordinator for the Patriots when they held us to 3 points in this Super Bowl.
Yes.
So like
So-
and like I was pissed off by this. Like, come on.
I have a
It was-
trivia question for you. I want you to tell me what team or who the president was the last time the Dolphins had back-to-back winning seasons before these last 2.
Was it George W. Bush?
Yes, it was 2002, 2003. They had a streak of from 97 to 03. They were 9-7 or better in every season. They happened to miss the playoffs in both 02 and 03, similar to how they missed it in 20 and 21. But just this is a disaster. This can't happen. Like I said earlier, this is why bad teams stay bad. This is why the Dolphins haven't made the playoffs in 5 years. This is why the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000. This is why Dan Marino, his final game as a Dolphin was a 62-7 game against the Jaguars. Like the Jaguars of all teams. Really? The Jaguars? Really? So this is another line of bad teams stay bad because they make bad decisions. It's other teams have to make these decisions, right? And good organizations don't screw up like this. This, say what you will, if it's a personnel or a power grab thing, okay, whatever. But you can't let a blue chip kind of talent, if you will, as a head coach. Flores dramatically changed the culture in Miami. This was a team projected to go 0-16, 1-15 in 2019. They were getting blasted, not even losing. They were getting blasted. They lost by 49 week 1 to the Ravens in 2019. This was a team that half of their roster was off the streets that wouldn't play again unless it was for the Dolphins. Week 2, they get blasted by the Patriots, lose by 43-0. Yes. They get blasted by the Cowboys. They are getting whacked by teams across the league, and then something flips and they start winning games. They beat the Jets in that weird game that Darnold had. They beat the Patriots week 17, the game that Kevin Harlan was calling both games at the same time when he was in Kansas City. And it's just everything changed from that moment when they were 0-8, I believe 0-8 in 2019, and the rest of the way or 0-7 maybe, and the rest of the way it all seemed to work. And then last year they win 10 games. This year, yeah, they had the rough start. They started 1-7, but you flip any of those games and they make the playoffs. You put Tua in against the Jaguars, against the Raiders, you win that game. If Tua is not immediately coming off of an injury against the Jaguars, or if that game's not in London, variety of things, you probably win that game. You win either of those games, guess what? You're in the playoffs over Pittsburgh. So they are a Tua injury away from being the 7th seed this year and having back-to-back 10-win seasons, which that is hard to do in the NFL.
It's really hard to do.
And the Dolphins said, all right, screw all of this. They're going to be worse next year. You're not going to get a Flores immediately.
I'm right back to thinking in my head, Miami's back to a 1-15 team. Maybe two, maybe not that bad. Maybe not that bad, but they're going to finish sub 500.
This is a 6-win team. I think, and I like Tua. That's the problem. The problem that I have
I don't know if
so many issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues.
I think that's a losing move. In the long run, it might be the winning move. I don't know. Flores could be like a serial murderer and be the wrong thing. Okay, whatever.
I mean, it's Florida. Who knows? But,
yeah, good point. Florida man does Florida man things. But it's just so losing franchises make losing decisions. This is why the Giants hire is so critical. If they kept Judge and brought in one of his cronies as GM, that's a losing decision. I thought Judge should have been fired yesterday, not today. Carolina, it's a losing decision to keep Matt Rule and keep Sam Darnold, right? It would have been a losing decision for the Vikings or Bears to retain their head coach GM pairing. And I think you have to look and say, if you're making losing moves, you can make bad moves. You can make moves that don't work out. That's one thing. If you have a good process and it doesn't
We're
work out,
used to that.
Okay. It's like drafting Trevor Lawrence #1 overall. It might not work out. It might not. It should. It might not. But you're not going to fault the Jaguars for whiffing on Lawrence. You might fault the Jets for whiffing on Wilson if, say, Fields or Lance turns out to be something. But you're not going to fault the Jaguars for taking Lawrence. It's just a bad franchise stays bad when they make horrendous decisions, like firing a coach after being super successful, like firing a coach that has made it work with a roster like this. And you can even point to, we talked about Rich Bisaccia earlier in the show, that Bisaccia came into a toxic culture, a team that was falling apart at the seams, and he turned it around and they're in the playoffs.
They're in the playoffs.
Brian Flores was one play away from doing that. If Jacoby Brissett hits a deep ball against the Raiders, the Dolphins are in the playoffs. The Dolphins would be the bloody 5 seed. They would be over, the Raiders would be out of the playoffs. They would be over the Patriots because they beat them twice. And then we're talking about a Dolphins-Bengals game. We're talking about Tua versus Burrow. But no, we're not, because Brissett had to play.
This is like, I'm just going to throw out this comparison here, or it's not like a full comparison, but like, remember the kind of team that Sean McVay came into in 2017?
Yeah,
the offense that he had to deal with.
Well, if it wasn't for Scott Tolzien, I don't think they're like that week 1 game against the Colts. That was one of the weirdest games of all time. They won 46-9.
They won. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But bottom line,
plays. I mean, that's not a 37-point game, but that was quite the entrance. But that was not, the Rams were not on anyone's radar. And
he literally turned them from the 32nd best offense in the league to the 1st in 1 year. Unreal. Imagine he does that, and then the Rams go on that Super Bowl run a year later,
and then they go 9-7, and then you fire him. He would have been hired immediately. He would have been.
He would have been gone off. Oh, yeah,
he would have been
plucked.
I forget.
Right
he would have been the next. I guess Judge and Flores had already filled. He would have been the next 2020 coaching hire. Imagine if he was in Cleveland instead of Kevin Stefanski.
Imagine if the the
Browns doing.
I'm glad I don't have to think about that.
Man.
But, hey, we do have Madden, so I mean,
that could be something over the. Well, I guess coaching doesn't really matter as much as Madden as players do.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean,
it's
not like them drafting Lamar over Baker. It's them changing one little thing.
But that's literally the kind of like just what a ridiculous move. I'm out of words. Like, this is so beyond ridiculous for Miami.
Just an L for Miami. I love a lot of what they had done with Flores. But this firing Flores is just a clown move. I think it's baffling. He's going to get a job very soon, and wherever he goes, let's say it's Chicago, he's going to be a Coach of the Year favorite immediately with Chicago, because they went 6-11 this year. Any improvement, if you get Fields rocking and roll, oh boy!
Imagine if that's he goes a team to Minnesota and gets Justin Jefferson really going again.
I mean, Justin Jefferson was wide receiver 2 this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just thinking about it. Thinking about it.
Actually, before we transition, after Cup, who do you think the best receiver in the NFL was this season?
Devontae Adams.
Okay, because I think Jefferson's up there, Adams is up there, Chase is up there, Debo is up there. Although some of Debo's production came as a running back. If
Debo's a running back, it matters to me. If you're not throwing the ball to him, but literally just giving it to him every play or like half his plays,
he did have 15 total touchdowns, 14 scrimmage plus a passing touchdown.
It's not bad, but I think you gotta take into account like the running back stuff too. So
okay, because does Debo's production as a running back, as a rusher in that offense, do you think that helps his All-Pro candidacy as a receiver? Okay.
I think it just helps him as an All-Pro in general.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where you put him.
He could get a flex spot. I wouldn't be
flex spot. Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's over Adams as like the flex role.
I would still give it to Adams though, because I feel like Adams is a little bit more like. I mean, he's got Aaron Rodgers for crying out loud.
Do you go Adams or Jefferson at 2 behind Cup?
That's a tough question.
You said Adams, right?
Yeah, I said Adams.
Okay, I think I would go Jefferson.
You could honestly give it to either of them though.
Mm-hmm. And then I have Adams as my flex, just over Eckler and Mixon and Chase and Debo. So we should actually do an All-Pro show at some point. I don't know when those are going to be released, but I think that could be one that maybe we get Henry and get a get like a thumbnail ready to go when it's released, and then we can go live about it.
Yeah.
Actually going to shoot Henry a message and ask him to do that. So with that said, let's keep it rocking and rolling. Fire up topic numero next.
We're just jumping into the Week 18 recap. I mean, just to quickly go over the rest of the Monday firings, you had Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace get fired by the Bears. Broncos fired Vic Fangio. Vikings let go of Zimmer and Rick Spielman as the GM. And we touched on Joe Judge, obviously. We touched on Brian Flores. So that's all we got for the firings on Monday. But let's jump into the Week 18 recap. Indy. We need to talk.
Goodness.
We need to talk about the Clots.
The Clots.
They deserve to be called the Clots because the L should come first.
Yeah, the Clots. Oh my goodness. Okay. On a scale, on the hot take-o-meter scale, how hot do you think Frank Wright's seat is? Before and after. But heading into that game, do you think he had any...
I think it's not terribly hot because they're pretty much a fringe playoff team the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
But they were in it. Like the way they were using Jonathan Taylor too. Like they were definitely in it. Now, I don't want to say like he's immediately going to get fired, but at the same time, it's a pretty fireable loss, honestly, in the kind of situation that you're dealing with. Like, I don't care about that stupid, you haven't won in Jacksonville since 2014.
Right. That doesn't matter. There's
that should not matter in the last week of the regular season.
There's like, how many people were even on that roster back in 2015? Like, how many Colts had lost 6 times? Yeah.
Who cares?
Like Reich is new. The quarterback, you've had 4 different quarterbacks since then. Like, I get it, but at the same time, man, at the same time,
just throwing all that out the window even anyway. Like, losing to the Jaguars is a disgusting loss.
They had, at points throughout the day, they had about a 95% chance to make the playoffs. And then it's slowly dwindling. And then it would jump up a little bit when the Ravens took the lead. And it would slowly dwindle. And then when the 4 o'clock game started, it was 0. The Colts had an all-time collapse. I know it was only 2 games. I know. But for as much as a pass as I was down, I was totally down to give them a pass for starting 1-4 because they were playing the Ravens and the Seahawks and the Titans and you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they played Miami in that group too. They started 1-4 and okay, they get a pass. They had a brutal schedule. They're going to rattle off wins. And you're telling me that their season gets blown.
Imagine watching what Jonathan Taylor did against New England on that Saturday night game, and then telling a Jaguars fan, "Oh, hey, you're gonna go," or not a Jaguars fan, Colts fan. Hey, by the way, this same running back, this team that just dominated the Patriots, is about to lose to the Jaguars and miss the playoffs.
Man, they beat the Cardinals, and then you're 9-6 heading into Week 17. You get an extra day of rest. You get the Raiders, who. The Raiders are a mixed bag. Let's be real here. You're big favorites over the Raiders, and you're huge favorites over the Jaguars, and you lose both games. And not even losing to the Jaguars, getting smashed by the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence turned into God against
What was that from Trevor Lawrence?
Like, oh my goodness. That
balled out. That was
first 16 games. Throw it out. Week 18 is the reason why Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 overall.
I'm just going to say this.
Is spectacular.
That is something to build on for Trevor Lawrence. Like, I know it's the last game of the season, but that is something to build on for the Jaguars. So this could be the beginning of this. Could be, we look back 10 years from now, Trevor Lawrence is an absolute superstar. We could look back and say this is the beginning of all that.
For all intents and purposes, he dropped his nuts on a very talented defense. Like, this is no scrub unit of a defense. They had multiple Pro Bowlers, multiple deserving Pro Bowlers, my favorite word, and 26-3 at one point, and then the Colts get like a touchdown 2-point conversion later in the game. Okay, 26-11 looks a little bit. They've lost their last 7 games to the Jaguars by an average of 15 points. The Jaguars have been awful. They have had the number 1 overall pick more times in that span than they've made the playoffs. They had never had the number 1 overall pick before 2020.
I mentioned this on the show, like live shows before this one too. I just find it absolutely hilarious too how Jaguars fans got to last season. They were cheering for the Bears when the Bears were destroying the Jaguars because they were like, yes, we're going to win the first overall pick. We're going to get Trevor Lawrence. Now they get to cheer for their team winning, and they still
Because
get the
the
first
Lions
overall
won.
pick because Detroit beat Green Bay.
Yeah. Congratulations, Detroit. Also, there's a guy I was arguing. So I have one of my buddies at Primetime Sports Talk makes a graphic, right? And it's my power rankings. And 2 weeks in a row, this guy, I think he's a Panthers fan, came at me and said, why are the Lions multiple spots ahead of the Panthers? I don't think that the Panthers aren't beating the Packers Sunday. They're just not. The Lions happened to beat the Packers. They were outscoring the Packers with Aaron Rodgers in the game, so it's not even a cheap win. So, yeah, shout out to the Lions. Dan Campbell, number 2 pick. I think they're going to end up – well, they're definitely going to end up with one of the top 2 edges because – Jacksonville is going to take the other one. So congratulations, Lions. Congratulations, Jaguars. You are on the clock.
Just a weird year when a non-QB is or not. I don't want to say too weird, but it's different to me when like a non-QB is.
I mean, it's usually it's usually quarterback, edge, or tackle. I mean, I don't remember the last. I can't even remember the last time it wasn't a non. Let's see. It was Lawrence, Burrow, Kyler, Baker. 17 was Garrett. 16 was Goff. 15 was 14 was Clowney. 15 was who the frick was it in 15? I can't even remember that. Who the heck was the number 1 pick?
Let's Google it.
Don't give it to me. 13 was Eric Fisher. That was a mess.
Oh boy. This one is a mess still.
Oh, wait. Oh, it was it a quarterback?
It was a QB.
It was a QB. It was oh my lord, why am I blanking? That was the
splash has been stumped.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna figure this out. Okay, 2014. Who was our pick in 2015? We took Perriman. That was the same year Kevin White went like 7 to the Bears.
This is accurate, right? I just want to be sure.
Oh my lord, why am I blanking?
This is accurate. I'll give you a hint. He's no longer on the same team.
Well, I would imagine. Oh, was that? Oh, Jameis, right?
It was Jameis, yes.
Yeah, 2015 Jameis. That was fine. Okay.
I guess it was fine, but like it obviously, you replaced him with Tom Brady. So
right, yeah, that's true. 2014 Clowney, 2013 Fisher, 2012 Luck. It's crazy that it's only been since 2012. 2011 Cam, 2010. Was that Bradford? 2010? Yeah, Bradford 2010
was Bradford. 2009 was Stafford.
Yeah, 09 was Stafford. 08 was Jake Long. So it's been tackles, edges, and quarterbacks since then. 07 was Russell. 06 was Mario Williams. 05 was Alex Smith. 04 was
Eli.
Yeah, Eli. 03 you had Palmer was 02. 03 was
okay. I pulled up the list. The last non-tackle quarterback or defensive, I think edge is what you said.
Yeah, defensive
was
end.
Keyshawn Johnson in 1996.
Good job, Jets. Great job, everybody.
The Jets.
Yeah, so there is a positional value here. I can understand it's weird that it's not a quarterback. I agree, but it's not too weird that it's an edge or a tackle.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you consider it's the Jags and they just got Trevor Lawrence last year. So
yeah, they wouldn't be taking a quarterback even if there was a quarterback worthy of being taken out number 1 overall. So congratulations, Jags. Congratulations, Mike and company. You got the win. You got to clown your owner, and you get the number 1 pick.
All right, let's pull up the Week 18 games and figure something else. We will get to Chargers Raiders. We will. I want to talk about
that was an unbelievable game.
Yeah,
unreal.
Let's see, Seahawks Cardinals was interesting. That was a back and forth game.
That was fun. Rashad Penny went nuts again.
He did. Thank you to Seattle because without that game, we would not be NFC West champions.
Although, would it still be Chargers, Cardinals, Rams?
That is a good question. That is a good question. I might have been anyway because Cardinals.
Yeah, let me fact check that because that would have been funny. But
no, because the Rams would have.
The Rams would have been the 5.
Been the 5.
So they would be in the same matchup, but I'm not sure where the.
I don't know who gets the tiebreaker between the Rams and Cardinals. Is the thing because they split the
Cardinals
season
did beat the Cowboys. If they're tied, the Cardinals would be ahead because you guys got swept by the Niners.
Yeah, we have the
So,
worst divisional record, so that
yeah,
that would be.
your team sucks, kind of. Well, you beat our team, but that's neither here nor there. Oh my. Okay, current standings. I totally butchered. I had the Ravens going 10-7. It's a hard knock life for us. I had Dallas going 14-3 at one point. Okay, that didn't happen. They were very good, but that did not happen. So
Good
fact
news.
checking.
Yeah, I guess I mentioned this before too. I think the worst case scenario I predicted for the Rams was 12-5. So it happened in a way.
Yeah, it did happen. I said we would go 8-9 one time in the AFC North group chat. A guy saved it and has been spamming it with me, spamming it the last 6 games. So
that's the kind of crap I do. So I don't play.
Yeah, the Ravens really lost their
can't-
last 6 games.
You can't fault them really too much because everybody was hurt.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, oh well. Okay, and if
There
the
were
Cardinals,
winnable games though.
okay, if the Cardinals had beaten the Seahawks, the Cardinals would be the 3 seed, and they would be hosting San Francisco, and you guys would be heading to Arlington to face the Cowboys. So
we won last time we were there, actually. So I think.
Was
I mean,
that-
obviously that was 2017, so a lot's
that's
changed.
right.
But
That's right. Because you guys played to open last season. You guys beat them 20-17. That was such a great
2017.
game.
Yeah, that was a really good game. First game ever in SoFi Stadium, even though there were no fans.
Yeah,
But
no
still.
fans, but hey, you get to watch your team play football on TV, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about playing on a Monday game because, for one thing, that's just an extra day of me to stress out. Like I have to think about, like, oh crap, we have a whole nother day. Like we're not playing Sunday. We have to. I guess the extra rest is good, but like as a fan, I'm just like,
But then you get less rest for
another
the
day.
next
But
round.
yeah, exactly. That was the next point I was going to make. You get less rest if you win the game, and potentially we're the 3 seed, I think. So we play.
You're the 4
seed, right? So we play. I think Green Bay gets the lowest remaining seed.
Yeah, they get the lowest, so it would be like Eagles. If the Eagles win, they automatically go to Lambeau. Beyond that, it's just
So
the
we're
lowest seed.
pretty much playing the winner of San Francisco, Dallas, unless Tampa Bay wins.
Yeah,
If we win and Tampa Bay wins, I think it's us against Tampa.
yeah, there's a chance you go to Green Bay if Dallas wins and Tampa wins. You could go to Tampa if the Niners win. You can go to Dallas if Tampa loses but Dallas wins, and you can host a game if the 6 and 7 seeds win. So it's open, and the
It is
Cardinals could
open. I
host a
mean-
game. They don't want to, but they could host a game if all
I'm not
3
sure
wild
we
cards
want
win.
to host this because the season series against the Cardinals, both home teams lost. So
This is true. You
But
guys got
hey,
slapped
hopefully-
week 4, right?
listen.
You
If
answered.
there are any
answered.
Rams fans out there that are watching this now or are going to watch this tomorrow or listen to this whenever throughout the week, show up to the damn game. If you have like Lakers tickets or Rams tickets, show up to the Rams game. We cannot afford in a playoff game, a home playoff game, an embarrassment of a crowd like last time. If you have to sell your ticket, make sure you're selling it to a Rams fan. Just do not let it be another Red Sea in the crowd. That was embarrassing as hell.
Yeah,
Not just the game, but just the crowd in general. Like that's something the Chargers would do. It was that bad.
Yeah. Speaking of Chargers,
Yeah, let's jump into that.
Brandon
Sunday night game.
Staley. There's very few times in the NFL that you can pinpoint a loss on one particular player or coach. Sunday night is one that you can pin totally on Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I agree.
That, like, say what you will about going for it on fourth and 1 from your 19. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, calling a timeout with about 38 seconds left to play in overtime. You're not getting the ball back. There is no incentive for you to call a timeout. There is no incentive.
Why in the world would you not? Why you like?
There's no
The
incentive.
clock is running out on the Raiders at that point.
You have 2 ways to make your playoffs. And you actually get the same seed regardless of what happens. So you either win or you tie. And you get the same, you're the 6th seed, regardless.
Justin Herbert on the sideline saying he's never wanted a tie so bad in his life.
And then you call a timeout. You're not getting the ball back. There, a tie, a win and a tie were the same, should have been the same on the same plane for the Chargers the entire game. That they essentially had like it's like betting with a -1 or a +1 spread, right? So you can tie and still win your bet, and you let that happen. It's a borderline fireable offense. It's up there with Reich this week. That Reich blowing the last 2 weeks and Staley calling that timeout. Those are near fireable offenses. If you had any other fireable offenses from the first 17 weeks, you probably were gone.
Can we trade? What's his name? Raheem Morris for Brandon Staley. I would love to have Brandon Staley.
I don't think the Chargers would like to do that.
However, they would not.
This does set the Chargers up with the number 17 pick, where I think they're not doing the whole process right if they don't take Jordan Davis. I know they don't care about stopping the run, but the second to that is just drafting guys that stop the run as opposed to investing in a ton of resources. This is what Tampa Bay does. Tampa Bay doesn't actually care about stopping the run. They just have awesome run defenders. There's a difference, right? Say like a team like Baltimore, they like care about stopping the run. So they not only invest in players that can stop the run, see Calais Campbell, but they also play the run, right? They play the run pretty well. Queen, Bynes, very run and hit linebackers. The Chargers don't care about stopping the run very much like the Bills, but the Chargers are so bad at stopping the run because they have no one on their bloody roster that can stop the run. Like even Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa is a top 25 player in the NFL, and he's not an elite run defender. Like there is no one in that front seven that you can, if you're doing like an all run defense team, you would have to go a long time before you pick a Charger on that team. And it's just an absolute disaster of a run defense.
We've seen it too before. Like not even just run defense, but just like a guy like yards after catch, like we saw with Kelsey. No one tackled Kelsey on that Thursday night game.
There's just so many issues with that defense. And they are carried by elite talent, Joey Bosa, Derwin James specifically. So pick Jordan Davis and say, okay, we're going to commit to this Staley defense of putting a lid on everything. We're going to entice you to run the ball, but we are going to make it harder for you to run the ball with our personnel. So as opposed to getting a ton of guys and saying, okay, we're going to stack the box, we're going to have Jordan Davis who can come in and be two people, essentially. When you have a game changer like Jordan Davis in one facet of the game, this is what Snacks Harrison did for his career. This is what Calais Campbell does. This is what Aaron Donald does, that you wreck so much of the game from the interior that you change it. You change the game. You like at Georgia, Alabama yesterday. Alabama's offensive line was horrendous, but Alabama's entire strategy was avoid Jordan Davis. And in the NFL, when Jordan Davis is going to be one of the biggest men in the NFL the day he's drafted, you can change a lot of downs. You can say, okay, pass on 1st and 10 and go into the teeth of our defense because we are there to stop you from taking deep shots. We are there to force you to run the ball. But then running the ball is less enticing because you have a mountain in the middle. So
a literal mountain.
Yes, the man is 6'6", 350. Okay. Pick the next game. I'm tired of talking about the Chargers.
Yeah, me too. They're out. Peace out. Screw Spanos.
17th pick.
How do, that's funny that actually that I'm gonna bring this up really quick before we move on. Spanos went on the field, and the moment he did that, that's when the Chargers' luck all started to go wrong. And I mean, Herbert had a really, really impressive game, especially those last 2 drives.
5 big time throws,
but
64 pass attempts. Though.
You got to blame coaching. You got to blame coaching for this.
You know that last drive? I think we touched on it at some point. 19 plays, 78 yards. It took 2 minutes off the clock. It is one of the. If there's like scoregami, right? There's drive-agami. That's never going to happen. All right. Hit me with the next game.
We'll quickly just go. There's not really too many more significant games. The Cowboys 51 over the Eagles 26. I mean, that was just a blowout. But
Dak was great. 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, Dak was fantastic. Chiefs beat the Broncos. Nick Bolton probably could have won Defensive Rookie of the Year if what's his name? Micah Parsons didn't exist.
Actually, a hot take. If DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't get injured week 1, Nick Bolton wins Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. because Parsons was very good as like a linebacker, but he's in Defensive Player of the Year consideration because of what he did as a pass rusher and because he had all those ridiculous pressures. And the Cowboys would not have been forced to use Parsons as that Swiss Army knife pass rusher and cover player, like as an edge. They would have just used him as a linebacker, blitzer, Devin White type. But you put him in the DeMarcus Lawrence role and you get tons of sacks, strip sacks, forced fumbles, tons of pressures. You get counting stats that as a linebacker, you're going to get tackles. And depending on who you ask, tackles don't matter. If you ask me, tackles don't really matter.
All right. Well, let's just rest of these scores. Washington destroyed the Giants. You get a medal. Congrats.
Browns 22-7.
22-7.
Oh, and Jake Fromm was a disaster. Mike Glennon, he had one big time throw the entire season, 16 turnover plays. That's really bad. 30.0 grade.
Browns beating the Bengals 21-16. I don't think the Bengals cared too much.
No, they benched Burrow and Mixon and Chase.
Sorry to make you cry, Splash.
Nope. Just read the name.
He's sad. We won't talk about that too long.
No.
Trust me, I don't want to talk about my game either. We kind of already did, but we don't.
Yeah, at least your team's in the playoffs.
Not really a whole lot of significant things to take a look at. The Titans just barely beating the Texans. The Texans made that one interesting.
What are your thoughts on Davis Mills? He looked very good against the Titans. I've been a little cooler on Mills, especially with. Okay, here's the thing that people get misconstrued. They see stats as like more valuable than they end up being. So with Davis Mills, he has better stats than the other rookies. But the problem is he doesn't have the film that the other rookies do. Not even saying that Lawrence and Wilson and co had good film. They had pretty bad film as well. But I think Mills got a pass for some of the worst quarterbacking I've ever seen. Like the Bills game, if you are a sadist like myself, we'll go back, get Game Pass, hit me up. I will send you my Game Pass information, and you can watch the disaster that was Houston versus Buffalo. Davis Mills was so bad. He had a QBR under 1, which is extraordinarily difficult to do.
Like, how do you do that? Like, that's one of those things where you try to fail.
Yeah, you try to fail, and you can't be that bad. He turned the Bills linebacking core. The Bills have a solid linebacking core. Edmonds and Milano and Makavich and AJ Klein. They turned them into Jack Lamb, Jack Lambert, Ray Lewis, and Derek Brooks for a period or for 60 minutes. It was all of them had like 95 PFF grades, and Mills was in the 30s. Oh, and then other than that, he put out a lot of good statistical performances, but how much of that is he's getting schemed up? Like against the Patriots, he had a very productive day. He was close to 300 yards, and I believe he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. But how much of that is hitting open throws versus him creating, right? So if you are coming into this now saying, oh, he's the second best rookie quarterback, according to his 2021 film, I would disagree with you. I don't think he is a long-term option. But this is the critical thing. I'm going to make a video about this over the offseason. Davis Mills is the best thing to happen to the Houston Texans because they don't have to take a quarterback this year. They can take a blue chipper like Stingley, like Hamilton, like Neal, like Linderbaum. Whoever you take at 3, whether you want to trade down, accumulate some more assets.
Question. Is Tyrod still there?
Tyrod is still there. But I would start Davis Mills over Tyrod.
I'd start Davis Mills. I don't trust Tyrod to stay healthy.
I think even throw health out of it, Davis Mills is the exact player you want because you don't think he's going to be the answer. If he is, that's great. That's great.
He's literally not, though. It's literally Jared Goff in the trade. He's probably not going to be the answer, but if he is, then you have him there.
Yeah, it's a win. You cannot lose. If you're the Texans and you go 0-17 next year, you get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Congratulations, you have your quarterback. If you have a decent record, guess what? You might have a halfway decent quarterback. So I think, and actually carrying on with the Lions, they did beat the Packers. If they draft a wide receiver with your pick at the end of the first round, I think they're going to have a good offense next year.
They probably could.
Even with Goff. And then
Goff
you're
is,
in,
I talk a lot of crap about Goff, but he's not as bad as I make him out to be.
he's much better than Tim Boyle. He's
That's
competent.
for sure.
He is a top
He's competent.
35 passer of the football. Tim
Just
Boyle
to
is not.
be a statue in the pocket is my thing.
This is fair.
With him,
But if you get, I don't know, Chris Olave, great route runner out of Ohio State, 27th, I don't know. Let's say for the sake of argument, 27th pick for the Rams. You get Olave this year, and then you load up on defense the rest of the draft. And then next year, maybe you suck. Maybe Goff has like 20 interceptions, and you go 3-13, 3-14. And you get the number 1, number 2 pick, and you get Stroud or Bryce Young or another first-round quarterback. And then you have first-round quarterback with 2 running back ones, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, 2 great wide receivers, Olave, Treylon Burks, something like that, as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have a star tight end, TJ Hawkinson. You have 2 star tackles, Sewell and Decker, and then you have the best center in the NFL, Frank Ragnow. That's a pretty good offense.
Eyes are on Detroit for sure. I believe that's an outdated word mark, but it is what it is.
Oh, yes. These are there's a couple the Chargers and Raiders have the same it's just Chargers and Raiders. It's not Los Angeles or Vegas, but this one's old.
That's St. Louis, yeah. That's
Yes,
way old.
Yes.
I think of those 3 teams, all of them ended up relocating. Only the Raiders kept the same logo and stuff.
But even
the Rams
this
are
one
different.
is
The
just,
Chargers are different.
it's the helmet, not the usual skull.
It's still very much the Raiders. That's outdated. Yeah, they don't even use navy blue as much as they used to.
I think all the other ones are like okay. Oh, it's the Washington Redacteds, but that I'm not going to reach for that one.
Yeah, don't bother. Speaking of that sort of thing, though, I think we need to move on to our favorite segment as of late. Tier this. Let's talk alternates. We've been doing home. We did home jerseys 2 episodes ago. Last week we did away jerseys. Now we're doing alternates. We have 37. Some of them are from different teams or the same team. So, like we have, for example, we have 2 Arizona ones right off the bat.
Do any teams not have any?
I believe New England doesn't have any for now. They're probably going to bring back their throwback jerseys next year.
Okay.
Because they want to bring back that Pat Patriot logo that they have.
Right.
So, because the new helmet rule is going to be in effect.
Yes.
So.
Yes. All right. Let's get into it with better jerseys than the Cardinals the last 2 episodes.
Yes.
Also, before we head in, if this is the first time you're seeing us and you want to see our rankings for the home and away jerseys, I will be compiling when we're done ranking all the jerseys. I will have a super cut of home, away, alternates, and color rush. Yes.
I don't think some of these are color rush. I don't think every single team is a color rush anymore.
Okay. Well, either way, it's all going to get a super cut. So if this is the first time you're watching us, then you can tune into that in the coming weeks, and we will be beautiful.
All right. Starting with Arizona.
All blacks exclusive. We will have a lot of all blacks today. All of them are generally very good.
Yes, I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, this should be an A tier. I think this is solid for Arizona. The next one, it's the same jersey, but it's just there's more red on it than white.
I'm not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan either. I'd probably
I don't like the numbers.
It's hard to.
I would go.
This is
C
usually. Yeah, I think C tier is more fair. This is my rule of thumb with numbers on designs in general, in just any sports uniform. If you can squint from a distance and see the number, then the color is good. If you can't, like this one, like I'm looking at it from my screen right now, I can barely see it.
Right.
I don't even know that that's a number 99. I know that's a number 99 because I looked at it earlier, but yeah, that's just not great.
Like process of elimination, you'll figure out that it's 99, but if it's not immediately recognizable, like there's some very beautiful jerseys coming up that it's the jersey. So speaking of, it's Kyle Pitts, it's an 8. I do like that. I like how like kind of polished the number is. I know the gradient's not everyone's favorite. I know you kind of like gradients, but I would say
I like gradient numbers, but I like
jerseys.
Some cases with gradients too. This is a little too far though. I know my limits with gradients.
I don't mind it as long as they're wearing black pants with it.
That's
I don't
true.
mind it.
That's true. They kind of lost the red top white pant option that they had going for them, which I didn't think was terrible with Atlanta, but I've always liked them with black better anyway. I think I'll C tier this one. I think C tier is fair.
Yeah, I think it's fine. S tier.
S
for
tier
the Dirty
Falcons
Bird.
throwbacks.
S tier. It might be the best jersey in the NFL.
Ooh. I might
have one of these. I have a Ravens all black.
I love the Ravens all black.
I think it's an A
minimum.
tier. A tier.
A tier minimum. It's that good. Bills red jerseys. What do we think?
A tier as well.
A lot of these are A tiers.
These are great.
Bills throwbacks.
Worse than the Reds, but they're very good. I would go B tier.
Yeah, we'll B tier. I think that's fair. I agree.
Do you
Panther,
like the Carolina
this
blue?
is A tier. I like the Carolina
so
blue.
too. I think
This is
so
A
too.
tier. Bears orange.
It's bordering on S tier for me.
Yeah, I could put it as. I like the orange. It's more. I think orange is a lot more vibrant than navy blue. So many teams use navy blue these days. So
yeah, I think the whites are. I would say A tier.
Yeah, the Bears throwbacks. I'd probably B tier. I'm not a huge fan of all the stripes. I get it that it's a throwback, but
I don't love the number, but I do. Like I would buy a Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah,
like on a discount.
I'd go B.
Okay, that's
they
fine.
could be S. This one is probably S or A. The Bengals.
Yeah,
orange.
I would go A tier.
These are really
if they
good.
match with the Bengals. The only issue I have is when they don't match top and bottom. When they do match, it's beautiful, regardless if it's black, red, or black, orange, or white. But if they don't match, then it's a little goofy for me. So
Absolutely,
I think it's A tier, bordering on S tier.
The Browns throwbacks.
Yeah. They're okay. I like their other jerseys much more.
Yeah, I do too. The drop shadow, I guess, is nice though, but that's about all it has
I'll
going.
go B or C.
We'll go B tier, make it a little interesting. Dallas with their alternates.
C.
I don't know.
I don't love them.
I don't love them either. Like I try to like them. It's different from what Dallas normally does, but it's just I don't love it as much as I probably should. The Broncos. We've got the navy alternate. We've got the throwback orange.
I think the throwback is better than the blue.
I agree.
So I would say throwback is an A, blue is a C tier, maybe low B.
I think it's an A tier. Yeah, this one will go C. We'll go C. I don't love it. I like the Lions gray. This is probably B tier.
I do.
A
I do
tier.
too. I'd go low A.
Yeah, we'll go A. Packers throwbacks.
C.
I'd give him a C. It's not great. It's not bad enough to be a D, but the Texans with their red.
I like the maroonish red. I do. I think that's an A, maybe a low, or maybe a low A, high B.
I think it's a B. I don't love it. I don't love it too much. I think
it's like a blood red.
Yeah, blood red.
I can vibe with it.
It's not the worst thing ever. Colts. I don't even know if this is a throwback or just a straight up like.
I think it's technically a throwback. From like the 50s.
It was on the list, so
I'd go A. I like it.
Yeah, there's nothing too special about it, but it's not bad either. Jaguars black, probably S tier. Maybe.
Okay. I'm cool with S.
Yeah, we'll go S. Chargers royal blue. I almost said
we're gonna
blue.
Disagree with these.
We're gonna disagree. These are the colors that I like, and on the wrong team.
A, at least A.
You know, I'm fair with giving this one an A tier.
Okay,
I'm fair with that A tier.
And then
ironically, I'm also kind of fair with giving this one an A tier, maybe even S tier.
Let's go S tier. I like the
next one
voltage.
The voltage blue. I like that. We can call it that.
I don't know if it's called voltage blue, but I like.
I don't think it is, but hey, Chargers, hit us up.
Yeah,
you can use the name.
Yeah.
Next one.
Pay us royalties, 1%. I mean, it's fine. I prefer your bone jerseys, but it's fine.
S tier. These are so good.
This is why I should be the one making the tier list.
You know what? I'll go A.
Okay, whatever. We'll split the
this is everything that the away jersey should have been. My problem with the bone jersey is less in the color and more in the actual design. But this design is fantastic.
So, all right. Speaking of fantastic, this is S+ tier for me. This is the best jersey in the NFL. Any team.
The Miami Dolphins aqua blue throwbacks.
Beautiful.
Would you do the same with their white ones?
No. I would probably go C tier. Honestly, I don't I don't think it works as well.
Yeah, I can agree. That's fair. Vikings alternate color rush, whatever you want to call it.
I like these are
I
fine.
really like these. I'd go
I
A
could
tier.
go A or B.
I'm gonna go A tier. We'll keep it interesting. A tier. Saints, probably a B tier.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not.
It's a
terrible.
solid
It's just-
jersey.
yeah, that's solid. These are the Giants throwbacks. I think
I might go C. I don't. It's just kind
these
of
are
there.
not great. The Giants don't have a good set. Jets black. What do we think?
A.
It's good. I really like this one.
Yeah.
It's probably the best one that they have. Same with the Eagles. Eagles
A.
B, put in the A tier. Next one we have off of.
A.
I got all these pictures off of Fanatics. This is the only child-sized jersey. A tier.
A or
That's
S,
one the
if
Steelers
you
have
want.
either. We might have
Action
conflicting
green.
opinions on the action.
Action
green.
green. A for action.
A for action. I'd give him
A
a
for
B.
action.
I don't
Okay.
like these too much, so I'd probably like balance it. I will say I like them experimenting.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
we'll
you
go
have
A
an
tier.
alternate
We'll go A
color
tier.
like
That'll
that,
be
if you
nice.
have an alternate color like that, I'm down for it. You know, like the Ravens, I have an inverted color rush that's gold. I don't think I would want them to wear all gold or their mustard pants
all
wanted me to
gold does
stab
not look
myself.
good.
Do you like my jersey? The Lamar one that I have?
Yeah, that one looks good.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
'Cause I like it.
You could probably pair it with like black or purple pants or white
Yeah.
pants. or something.
Yes. Black pants, 100%. I wear. I'm wearing navy pants right now. Darn it.
I'm wearing
but,
black
yeah.
pants. Even though the Rams don't wear black.
I think these
Seahawks
are
gray.
Seahawks gray. I think is an A. I think, depending on the circumstance, might be better than the green, action green.
The Seahawks. You know what I do like about the action green is that they give themselves nice combinations. Like they're all the
Mhm.
same uniform design, and you can pretty
Right.
much mix and match whatever you want.
Yeah,
And nothing
that's
really
when-
looks terrible.
Right. That's the issue that I have with Cincinnati. That their colors are fine on their own, but when you mix and match, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But Seattle, I think you can mix and match and look perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't think Seattle has too many glaring issues. I think with the action green, it's when they wear it with the action green pants. Then it's kind of like, oh boy, my eyes.
Yeah. Then you look like a highlighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Niners. They got two.
They've
I
got the
think I
home
prefer
and
the
road
red ones
throwbacks.
over the whites.
I'd be perfectly fine B tiering both of these,
Yeah, I'm cool.
but I
with
like
it.
the red ones better. So
Me too.
we'll just B tier them. Buccaneers pewter gray,
A.
A tier,
Yes.
no question there.
Titans.
Finally,
I
the
also think that's an
Titans.
A.
Yeah, it's an A tier. Powder blue Titans. There you go.
So-
No D tiers. Nothing's
Yeah,
really
no
terrible.
disasters. No disasters. I think the worst one is probably the Cardinals.
Yeah,
Cardinals or Giants. I think
you
I
guys
think too
tell us in
highly
the
of the
comments.
Falcons. Yeah, tell us in the comments what jersey you think is the worst in the NFL.
Not just alternates
Um,
too. You can tell us home and
yeah,
away and which
yeah.
one's bad.
Worst jersey. I think the best one in the NFL is the Miami throwbacks. The Falcons blacks are up there. I think the Bears whole set is also up there in my eyes. So like I wouldn't be opposed to like a top 5 jerseys being all 3 of the Bears. Or not all 3 of the Bears, but like their normal
The
blues,
Bears
their
are up
normal
there.
whites, and then the oranges, and then like the Falcons and Dolphins.
I've got the
are-
Packers green up there. I think that one might
Yeah,
be-
that's iconic.
that's like a
iconic. I like
top
the
one.
Raiders blacks with the silver numbers. I like those as well.
Hold up. I had an unplugging incident. We're good
happens.
there. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, Chris coming in with a fire. He says Chargers got to be in the S tier. I agree. We
have
gave
one
S
Chargers in
tier,
the S tier.
one S, one D.
I wanted to put the Rams alternate in the S tier. Splash wouldn't let me, but
No.
this is more of a consensus than anything else. so
Falcons, red, black goes in D. I don't think it's that bad.
it's not.
Oh, and he
It's-
says the action green with the D. No, Chris. Although,
I'll tell you
uh,
what. We will post links to these on U
That's a great
Stadium,
idea.
and we will let you guys go nuts. We'll share ours with
Mhm.
you guys. We'll do these
Yeah.
individually, and then we'll let you guys go nuts. So
yeah, and we do have a question, so you can throw down the tier list.
I will do it for
thingies.
tier this.
All right, great segment. So this is from
that's
Jake.
our 50th one. That was our 50th episode.
Episode 53, the Darius Leonard episode, by the way.
Yes.
Jake Oppenheim says, how much will Giants' lack of cap hold them back? This year it might, but you do have an influx of talent. You have one of the biggest biggest sets of draft capital this season. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world.
I don't think it is either, because especially when you're trying to hire a new head coach, you're trying to convince them not about just the now, but also the future of the team. And
absolutely,
again, draft capital. There's so much that's going to be a huge
and
part of that.
you're coming in, and a GM's gonna know what's the work that's cut out for them. But if you look at a Mickey Loomis down in St. Louis, down with the Saints, sorry, you can like kick these down the curb and you can make moves, and they're going to get out of a lot of those bad contracts. You know, taking a running back number 2 overall, you know, I don't know, Saquon, I believe it's on his 5th year, is heading into his 5th year. I know that. I believe they gave him his 5th year option. I don't know if you retain Saquon long term, which is a great move because you're paying him like a top, I don't know, you're paying him like one of the best running backs in the NFL on his rookie contract. That's just a bad positional value play. So I don't think the Giants' lack of cap is going to be the end of the world. I think you bring in a smart general manager, you can work around it immediately, and you can have some fun there. And you're going to cycle out some of those bad contracts. Remember, you do have a you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. That's good. Quarterbacks on rookie deals good. Running backs on rookie deals bad, especially when they're the bloody number 2 pick. Then he's making more than Daniel Jones is.
Do you want to see what looks like a construction vest?
Yeah.
Chris?
Oh boy.
That's absolutely a construction.
I actually do kind of vibe with this.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Like, I played with the Seahawks in Madden at one point. I used these, so they're not terrible. But you want to go down the looking like a construction vest path.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's on a vest jersey. Word to the Major League Baseball.
MLB needs more pullover jerseys like they've been having with Players Weekend, I think.
I like those.
I liked when the Dodgers had them. They had like
we're gonna have to do like an MLB segment, maybe NHL.
We will. We've
done retro reverse.
We did do the reverse retros. They're coming back, not this season, but the one after. But we're obviously like far from done with tier lists, just jerseys.
You can probably do MLS.
MLS would be fun, and it's more than just jerseys too. Like we can do logos, we can do
flags.
Flags would be fun.
Friday Flag Day.
The possibilities are literally endless. So just let us know what you guys want to see.
Absolutely.
On tier
Drop
list.
A comment. You can tag me on U Stadium. You can tag Jack on U Stadium. Make sure you get the right Jack Mitchell, the one with you have a star, right?
I have the green star, yes.
Because I think I have a check for some reason.
I think it's because you're official now, so they gave you
that's
the
fair.
verified
That's fair.
check.
Thank you, Frankie.
I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else. Big show today. We do have an announcement. If you are a fan of the 6 p.m. Eastern at Tuesday time window, my sincerest condolences. We will be moving the show. I believe we will be settling into a time on Wednesday. We're not going live tomorrow. That
if we went live, so I think I want to double check this, but I think the 15th is our 1 year anniversary, so we're gonna cross that before we go live again.
Okay. Although we might go, we're probably going live for the playoffs, so that would be, so Saturday we'll probably be live with playoffs to celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
The 15th, yes.
Okay.
Month. That's a Saturday.
Are you ready? Yeah, I believe it's a Saturday. Should be a Saturday.
I'll see if I'm around for that, but that would be our 1 year anniversary of the Sports Desk. Right. So crazy to think too.
I know, right? It's
whole year
crazy. Episode 53 today, and next one will be episode 54. And this will be the first time we've gone more than 7 days without recording, because we're going to be doing it likely on Wednesday. Jack and I do need to iron out the final details, but we will not be live next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
No. So just stay tuned to everywhere, and we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we appreciate the support. We appreciate the love, all of the likes, all of the comments. It's really awesome. All the super chats. So make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ring a ding ding that Le'Veon Bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Jack and I, our individual accounts. Mine's Mr. Splashman19. Jack, you can give him yours.
I believe my Instagram is Jack_Mitchell_01. So I'm not active on there, but maybe that'll change really soon. So
it happens. So thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, Aaron Donald trains with knives.
Aaron Donald trains with knives.